there, everybody, and this is going to be episode 23, and this one is the one. This is the one. We're finally going to build Nanocarbon Alloy Factory 2.0, and I don't know if this is going to be the last episode in the series. I may do further episodes, just a few more, not really much, because this is the go of the series, so it's going to be over soon regardless, but I might do a few more things. I do not know. One of those things I might do is actually make a bunch of Nanocarbon Alloy with Nanocarbon Alloy Factory 2.0 once we set it up. That might be something I do afterwards, but all I know for sure is that in this one, we're going to make it. And again, not entirely sure if this is the end of the series, but this is the go of the series complete, so it might be the end. I never know what's going on in this life. That's my thing. Anyways, yes, that calls for another narcissism moment, because I have to watch my own video in order to get the resource list for this, so that I know exactly what we're going to build. And I don't know where it is. I think it's back. Yes, okay, so there's two different resource lists, right? There's all the platforms we're going to need and what they cost, but also there's just the how much of everything we're going to need. And so I'm going to get all this stuff, right? And then I'm going to come back to this list and make everything. So yeah, that's like a good order to do this, by the way. Fun fact for you. So yeah. But yeah, there's nothing great to be said about this process. In fact, it might be my least favorite thing underneath the sun. Right, so I'm going to cut out the me gathering all the resources part, and then I'm going to come back when it's all in a nice little pile, so I hope you enjoy your life for this, like, split second that I'm going to be away from your perspective. Okay, I'm not done gathering all the resources I need for this yet. I just thought I'd bring you here to complain for a second, because I messed this up pretty large. You know, I've already seen 3 mistakes. For one, over here on this one, it says we need 4 zinc, we need 9. That's not true. This says 1 medium platform A is going to cost us 25 resin. That's supposed to say 25, right? We need 25 medium platform A's. That's going to cost us 25 resin because they're 1 resin a piece. What else? I know there's another one. Oh, yeah. 3 portable smelters. I put it cost us 3 nanocarbon alloy for that. That's just not true. That's going to cost us astronium, and it's going to cost us 24 astronium. I just, like, and y'all, nobody told me, none of y'all told me. You just let me sit here and live my stupid life. All right, so I have everything now, according to this list, which is probably wrong further than what I recognized, right? I did notice a few issues, which means there's probably a few more I didn't notice. Anyways, this is everything we're going to need for it. I have laying out here on the base, and as you can see, it's I had 52 resin sitting here. No, where did it go? Where is it at? Alright, got my resin to a slightly safer location, and so now it's time to make this stop dancing. I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, and so yeah, this should be everything unless something else escaped through the floor without me knowing. Maybe don't set your stuff on the floor, I've come to learn just now. And yeah, this auto sorter over here, right? That takes the stuff from our auto everything factory, and brings it here. It's doing a great job, because the only thing I had to get manually was some of the resin, because obviously there wasn't enough there, but everything else except for the astronium, of course, because it's not in there, and the alloys, was gotten just straight out of those canisters over there, so it really wasn't that big of a deal. But yeah, as you can see, not too terribly expensive. The only part that's going to suck here really is crafting everything we need. And so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go like largest to smallest, right? So I don't really know what the main character here is going to be yet. Probably, like, I guess the most amount, the least amount is what I should say. So I'm going to start with medium platform A's and pretend like my phone's not ringing. All right. I'm going to be honest. It's been like a day since the last cut, but I do have everything I need now to set up NCAF 2.0. And as you all know, this video is going to be coming out late, so whoops about that. But hey, this is a lot. All right, this is a big one right here, and I got a lot to do, so there's that. So over here, I would like to point out, this right here is actually going to be the same generator setup I have for my main base. I know I said a long time ago I was just going to run, you know, extenders here, because the one at the home base makes more than enough power to power both home base and this. But then I realized that I'd rather just build it again than run, you know, extenders all the way here from the other base. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to build that again. Anyways, though, yeah, I say that because everything other than, you know, the stuff on these silos, because I'm using the silos as temporary storage, because, you know, obviously these silos are going to be full of medium generators whenever, you know, I have those on the shuttle over there, whenever I put those over here. For now, I'm just using them to store all the stuff we need for NCAF 2.0, and this is all the stuff we need for NCAF 2.0. But the real reason I brought you here before I started actually setting this up and building it is because I wanted to explain that, for those of you who don't know, we built near this, you know, this automatic astronium train system we have, so that we can turn astronium to scrap and use that scrap to get nanocarbon alloy, right? Instead of soil, which is what I did for the original NCAF 2.0. But then I realized I can just do both, so I'm going to do both, right? I'm going to make this to where we can put in soil to get nanocarbon alloy, or the Astronium can come up and make it so that it's, it's both. So that's neat. And so the first step is, and I'm going to do this off camera real quick, is I'm going to bring that up here and run the rails to it so we can decide how we're going to get the Astronium to become scrap exactly. And like how that's going to integrate into the system while doing soil as well, basically. So I'm going to figure that out. All right, so I've ran the train that gathers our Astronium to where it's going to be up here. And then we're going to take that Astronium and trade it for solid fuel jump jets that we are going to use to turn to scrap. And again, we're going to be doing soil and Astronium for the system. So the Astronium is turned to scrap by sending, obviously, these solid fuel jump jets to a shredder right here. And that's going to be the same shredder that we get from our soil to scrap stuff over here. So our soil and our Astronium is going to be sharing a shredder, and we're going to get our scrap from that. And then I just have this other large resource canister here to the side that will also get Astronium, right? So they both get Astronium. And so, yeah, we have our trade platform automated to get solid fuel jump jets. That's the best way to get scrap from your Astronium. You get 3 scrap for each Astronium, which means with this nanocarbon alloy contraption, we're going to be getting 1 nanocarbon alloy for every 2 Astronium, which is a really, really good conversion rate. And so I think that we can start actually setting it up now. So that's good. That's going to be a little rough around the edges because I'm going to do a bit of a combo here, right? I'm going to try to work from memory, but I'm also going to try to, like, I guess, certain things that I can't remember, try to weave them in there as naturally as possible, which means I'm probably going to have to sort of refer to my own video and cut out parts where I get confused here. But hopefully in the end, this video will be okay. So the first thing we're going to do is set up our soil centrifuge, right? Because we are going to start with the soil to scrap part, which again is just going to end at a shredder here. That's the soil to scrap section. We'll end at a shredder, which is going to be placed right here because the Astronium to scrap and the soil to scrap, again, are going to share a shredder. So actually, might be best to just place that first. Thing is, though, I have to find it in all this glorious arrangement I have over here. Ah, I found it right there. Here's our large shredder, and we're going to be putting it on a... Oh, yeah, that's right. I need to put it on a large platform A, so I have to find that as well. This is going to be interesting. There he is right there, and we have it. We're going to just plop it down like this, and we have it right there in the middle. Now, I think this is going to be a pretty good way to do it because, yes, when they're both running, like if we have soil and Astronium at the same time, the shredder is going to get backed up, but at the same time, it's like... Not by much, I don't think. So you can use an extra large shredder if you want, but I don't think it's going to help a whole lot because in the end, you're just going to run out of soil before you can get enough more to replace that anyway. So taking a little extra longer, in my opinion, is not going to be a problem here. Anyways, yes, we need the soil centrifuge now, obviously, because if you're going to turn soil into anything, even scrap, that's going to start with the soil centrifuge. That's the only way you can turn soil into anything. And then, basically, I just want a spot where we can store a ton of soil. Basically, I just want a spot where we can store a lot of soil right here to the side. So that's why I have large storages somewhere. I've got one back here. I don't know where the other one is. I really hope it exists. It's really nice and convenient when the things I need exist at all. Oh, there it is. I just put it on the opposite side. That makes a whole lot of sense. I'm glad I did that since I brought them both at the same time. Anyways, yes, we're going to put this here. Then we're going to load them with medium soil canisters, right? Which, when you put a normal soil canister on with a bunch of medium soil canisters, the small one automatically takes from the medium ones and fills out the soil centrifuge. So basically, you can just have the medium ones on here and automate them being emptied of soil. Just in case you didn't know, just in case you're not a long-time viewer of the World Class Jerk channel, which would be your first mistake, really. Anyways, yes, what is this soil centrifuge doing? Well, it's automatically gathering us some resin, and then it takes that resin and it automatically crafts it into... small soil canisters. And so it just scraps those, right? That's literally it. We are crafting all of our resin that we get automatically from the soil into soil canisters automatically. Then we're grabbing those and putting them in this shredder that they may be scrapped automatically. And then there's a lot more after that, obviously, but we're going to get to that next. But yes, that's the soil to scrap part, which is what we're focused on right now. We're just scrapping soil canisters, which, again, to automatically do that, we, well, yeah, I'm showing you right now. I don't know. Look. Now then, this is normally where things get a little spooky and unfortunate to explain, but it's not going to be that bad because I'm going to go over the unfortunate and complicated to explain part whenever it's actually relevant. Just know that later on we have to add a sort of fail-safe system that I'm not going to get into right now, where we need these parts right here, right? We need a power switch and a storage sensor. But for now, that doesn't actually matter. All we need is a medium platform A placed right here between them. then an auto arm on a medium platform A, just like this, then a medium storage, which I unpacked all of mine just to store all the stuff we need for this build, so that was interesting. And as you can see, the small canisters are just going to craft onto that medium storage. Whenever a printer can craft onto a storage, it will. So we have it right in the range there where it can, so it will. And that's good because it means it won't be piled on the ground and then fall through the ground whenever we're outside of render distance. That's an ugly thing. We don't want that. And so yes, that's where the small canisters are going. This picks them up and scraps them. That is literally it. And so you want to filter this to only pick up small canisters, right? Because if anything else is there, it will end up scrapping it. And if the printer's in range because you have that a little closer, well then, it's no exception to that rule. The way you would do this is by putting a, if you had one on you, I don't, put your small soil canister in the center right there. Whatever you put in the center, it will only pick that up. And so, there you go. Beautiful. However, yeah, the complete soil to scrap. And so I'm going to explain the slightly confusing part right here just so that it makes sense, right? The way you do this is you have your scrap, right, get moved to a medium platform A like this, right? So we would have an auto arm pick up that scrap and take it to this medium platform A. But let's say we have more than enough scrap for the whole system, right? Let's say at the end, wherever we are storing our nanocarbon alloy, let's say it's full, so we can't make any more nanocarbon alloy. That means the scrap would back up to here, and this auto arm can't place it there, which means no more soil canisters can be scrapped, which means we need to stop crafting them, right? Or else they'll just pile up past the medium storage once it's full. I hope that made sense. And so the way we do that, right, is we put a storage sensor on this very first platform that the scrap gets placed onto, right? And we tell it that whenever this gets full, we need to cut power to this, right? This section, because we want our power running from front to back so that we can put a switch here, right? That cuts the power to our soil centrifuge and all that so that we stop getting small canisters of soil whenever there's no more room for them to actually fit on this storage. And as I said, we know that there's not room for them to fit on this if there's not room up here. Now then, this might get a little weird. It might actually mess up still because we're also doing Astroneer. I don't know what would happen if you did those at the same time. However, all I can tell you is what I did for the soil to scrap version, and that's all I'm going to do for this one for now. Later on, if I find there's issues and I find a fix for it, then I will let you know. But for now, as far as I know, that's a good fix for that. It's at least better than just letting it craft up once it's full. But I doubt having too much nanocarbon alloy is going to be your primary issue at first anyway. So this is more of a after you've been using it for a while thing anyways. But yes, like I said, it's important that the power goes, like it's getting cut from this because the power is from this direction. Like if I put my power source over here and it went to the soil centrifuge, then we ran it from the soil centrifuge to the rest of the build, you wouldn't be able to do it this way. So you got to make sure that it's like this in some measure, which is unfortunate because that's actually where I wanted to put my generators, and then I forgot this is how this works. Yes, I need to space this out more because that large resource canister is just right in my way. Because what's going to happen is we are going to just distribute this scrap, right? So this here is one path of scrap because we're going to be getting scrap in this auto arm. It goes to this platform. We're going to have other auto arms that take from just this one platform. So it distributes the scrap across many paths. And those paths go to different trade platforms that automatically trade for different things that we need for nanocarbon alloy. And so, basically, give me a second, I forgot. Basically, what that means is we just gotta, yeah, that's it. All this section is just making sure that the auto arms take from several platforms to divide, right? So if I put an auto arm here and an auto arm here, that's 2 different paths now, and then one straight down the center, that's 3 paths. We need 4 different trade platforms, right? So we're going to split it down 4 different paths. And that's going to look a little something like this, right? You see? It's literally just one path becomes 4. And again, we are doing that because we need 4 resources, and you can't make trade platforms switch what they're trading automatically, so we have to dedicate each trade platform to one item. Right? So that's literally it. We just have to make the path go to 4 different ones. I know I'm repeating myself a lot, but I don't remember what I'm saying. And if I try to redo it, then I have to unset this up because I want to set this up as I'm going. So I apologize for any repeating, but I'm kind of confusing myself, so I have to make sure I didn't miss anything. But yes, next we just place those trade platforms, and we have to automate them. And I will just warn you ahead of time, that's the most confusing part of this. It's not particularly confusing because over the days I've gotten a little bit better at explaining that, because I've had to explain the automation of trade platforms about 100 times. But yes, it's not done traditionally because there's like a blue button in most platforms that you press. You know, before the craft button, there's a blue button with a circle. You press that, and that means it'll start crafting whatever it's on automatically. But the trade platforms don't work that way. You have to like manually use logic to make them trade automatically. So I'll show you that. It's really not that hard. All right, here we go. We got all 4 of them placed, and I'm going to show you what each of them need to trade for first. Then I'm going to show you how to automate just this one, and then just understand that you need to do that for each, right? So all these need to be automated separately, but I'm going to show you how to do one. But yes, first I need to tell you what each of them are trading for so that you can get them to trade for that. And I don't remember precisely which one does what, so actually I got to go watch my own video again. Okay, I'm back, and I figured it out all by myself with my own help, which is weird and creepy. But yeah, this one right here needs to trade for hematite, which is going to be iron once we smelt it. This one needs to trade for titanite, which is titanium when we smelt it. This one, ammonium, just like that. And then this last one over here, graphite. So right there. And so if we're not a carbon alloy, we also need carbon, but we're going to use the tapper for that. So yay, glad that's a thing. Anyways, yes, the entire problem with automating trade platforms, right, is that we can't just simply use a storage sensor, right? You would think, here, we can put it on here full or empty, right? And then when we do this, whenever it gets full, it'll just cause the trade platform to take off, right? But the reason that doesn't work is because the trade platform will not get full while trading for graphite, for example, right? Because it can only take 4 scrap when it's trading for graphite. So it won't get full. So I guess technically with things like ammonium, you could just use the storage sensor, but I'm not going to because I have OCD and autism. So I'm going to do the same way for all of them. But for things that you can't fill the trade platform up in order to trade, you have to go out of your way to do this other method that I'll show you right now. And so if we can't use the trade platform to tell if the trade platform's full, we have to figure out how to use something else to tell if the trade platform's full. And that would be its own platform, right? Whenever it gets full, the stuff that would go on it, which is the scrap, is going to land instead on this medium storage. And so that's the entire trick. We will have a storage sensor on the medium storage. And we just need to say that if anything lands on it at all, then we activate the trade platform and tell it to leave. So it would be something like this, right? And the way we tell if anything lands on this is empty or not empty, that mode, right? If something lands on it, empty or not empty. But that would just be not empty that we're looking for, right? We don't want it to do it for empty. And so the way we get it to ignore half of the inputs is with a count repeater set to 2. So we would run it through this, then to the trade platform. But then there's an additional issue. There's just one more issue we need to correct, and that's that this auto arm needs to be told to turn off, right? So right now it's on, then it fills up the trade platform, and the trade platform leaves. But when the trade platform leaves, we don't want scrap to continue bogging up all this storage. I don't remember why, but that's something we really don't want. That's like necessary. We do not want that. I'm pretty sure it's something to do with the safety of whenever like the system gets backed up, but just trust me, that's necessary. And so the way we do that is we make the storage sensor run both to it and the count repeater, and then we got something like that. And then one last final step, and this is just to offset which inputs we're ignoring, right? We ignore half of these inputs. Well, right now we would be ignoring not empty and listening to empty, but we actually want to listen to not empty and ignore empty. So we have to halfway activate this, basically. So we just need a button repeater to do that, and we can, yeah, just not use that anymore. We just need it for that one instance, and then we can stop using it. Oh, but yeah, just like this right here, activate it halfway, and then this doesn't matter anymore. And so, place this on top of this, because it looks better. So, do that. It's mandatory. I demand it. Anyways, that is by far the most annoying part of this system, and since I'm not the worst at explaining it anymore, that might have been pleasant. So, we can move on. And so all of these, right, need their own dedicated auto arm to get the stuff they're trading for, right? We're getting graphite out of this one. Well, it needs to move on, right? That graphite needs to come out. And this is where filtering the auto arm is really important. This one needs to only pick up graphite, or it might yank this count repeater, yank this storage sensor. It might, we don't know what it's going to yank, right? We can't have it yanking. So we're going to filter that specifically. Very necessarily, we need to filter that one. And then, you know, obviously all these on the other end, we're using a large platform B. We can save using a medium platform A by using this extra dead storage we didn't need to just put the auto arms to take the stuff when it gets back. And this is where it gets really awkward because I don't know anything anymore, right? I mean, I designed this in creative not even a long time ago, just a couple of months. And now I don't remember because that's how I operate as a person. I'm going to have to go watch my own video again. All right, I know what's going on, so I'm going to set this up a little. But before that, I really want to stipulate that this is like, the way I set this out is very specific, right? To where it's efficient the way the things move. It really matters that graphite's right here. It really matters that ammonium's right here, right? Specifically, the items we're trading for need to be in the places they're at because of the way we're running stuff, the shortest distance possible, according to me, which probably isn't the absolute best, but I got it pretty good. Basically, the reason we need graphite for nanocarbon alloy, right, is because it makes graphene. So we're going to take a chemistry lab right here where the graphene can be placed on it, right? Graphite can be placed on it, right? and we are going to set it to automatically craft graphene. So if you're not familiar with it, this is what I was talking about earlier. Everything but the trade platform just about has this blue button, so we can automatically craft graphene just like that. Really wish the trade platform had an automation button like that, because, wouldn't have to explain all that stuff. But yes, this entire large platform, extra large platform C, is going to be filled with, stations like the chemistry lab and atmospheric condensers and stuff. So it doesn't matter that this graphite could be placed right here, because actually it won't be able to, because we're going to have something blocking that space. I just want to explain that. For this build, a lot of what we have involves making sure that there's no space for the auto arms to place things where they're not supposed to, so that we can take up as little space as possible for this build. So just keep that in mind. It doesn't matter that this is not exactly on just this, because that's the only thing that will receive the graphite. And so for graphene, we need graphite, right? We knew that. That's what the graphite's going to. But we also need hydrazine. And the way we get hydrazine is going to be with another chemistry lab, obviously. And so that we don't have to use auto arms, right, to move the hydrazine we're going to make with this one to this one so that we can get graphene, right? They're just on the same platform. So whenever the hydrazine is crafted in this one, it will automatically move to this one so that graphene can be made. That's why it's worth the investment to make an extra large platform C, because, less auto arms and less space taken up, all that good stuff. And so this is placed here for a reason. Like I said, this is the more optimized version of the Nanocarbon alloy factory. This is not placed here just because there's space. It's placed there because the ammonium's behind it, and that's what we use to make, not rubber. I forgot to change it and I confused myself. That is what we need to make hydrazine. So again, automatically set it to craft. And again, when it's crafted, it goes over here. Then we'll have graphene because we're also receiving graphite from the auto arm behind. Beautiful. But if you take a big fat gander, we also need hydrogen for hydrazine, not just ammonium. So that's where one of the other spaces on this extra platform C come in hand. And so since I'm building this on the home planet, which by the way is not technically the best planet to build this on at all, but I like the home planet, so that's where we're building it. Since we're here, we are going to, automatic hydrogen, help me out. Automatic hydrogen, yes, automatic hydrogen is going to be crafting right here, and it works the same as everything else, right? It's on the same platform, so it will move over to this to make the hydrazine, then the hydrazine moves over to this to make the graphene. And later on down the line, which is not yet relevant, but I just want to make clear what this last space for, later down the line, we are going to need nitrogen as well, and that's also on the home planet, so just keep in mind, that's what this is going to be about, right? Nitrogen will be automatically crafting here for when we need it later, which is, again, not quite yet relevant. Okay, I lied. That actually is relevant right now because titanium alloy is the next thing being crafted, and it takes nitrogen. So that's right here. We are going to auto-arm that nitrogen over to this because I couldn't find an efficient way to, make it share a platform because this space would be empty. Look, I didn't even need to say that. But yes, titanium alloy is graphene, nitrogen, and titanium, you see? So titanium, again, no coincidence that this is back here. That's going to pass it on, right? That's going to pass our titanium to here. So actually, I need to slide everybody back because this isn't even almost in range. Anyways, yes, we're getting into titanium now, which is one that needs to be smelted. So that's where the portable smelters that we needed come into play. Where is one at? Here's one right here. That'll go here. And so, nope, nothing else to say. That's just that. It gets smelted into titanium. Then it gets to be placed on here automatically, meaning we just need to move the nitrogen over and the graphene over, right? We already have graphene from this. We already have nitrogen from this. Auto arms. That's all I got to say for you. So I'm going to place them on something like this, where kind of like it's perpendicular, right? It's weird looking, but like it still clips the platform right here, right? So it'll place the nitrogen there. It just looks cooler. So it's like not necessary at all, but that's what I'm going to do. And I think this will work just fine. But yeah, obviously same with the graphene. I'm going to place it unnecessarily neat-like because it's like OCD and autism or something. I don't know. I think I already told you about that problem I've got. Just like this right here. You see, it just like barely clips this, but it does clips this. So good enough. Make sure everything's connected because I'm going to get real upset later when I have to do that. Boom, son. I'm a success right now. And so I would just like to point out, just for the sake of recap, that we're getting close to done, kind of. Like, graphene is one of the more expensive parts of titanium alloy, and titanium alloy is more than half of nanocarbon alloy. And so titanium alloy, we just showed how to make. Now all that's left is steel, right? Steel. And then titanium, and then we can merge that with the titanium alloy to have nanocarbon alloy. So this is the bulk of it right here. This is the big meanie, the big fat meanie of the video. If you understand automating the trade platforms and this, yeah, you're good. But yeah, so then, moving on to still. We simply have the auto arm placed onto a portable smelting furnace, which the reason that's interesting is because these you can actually just place on land, and then look, they're their own thing. So you can put it between, and then have it have it just be something that auto arms put and take to from, right? It just has its own thing. It's kind of weird, but that's a thing you can do. So we're going to try to draw it out a little bit, right? Because the way I built this, which I'm assuming was for a reason, is that the steel is being crafted like up here, not real close. So I'm trying to make sure that they're spaced out pretty good. But yes, this places the raw iron onto this, obviously. This picks it up once it's smelted. Then we place it onto a platform, which I need a little more room, huh? Then we place it onto a platform right here that's going to have 2 chemistry labs on it. And again, that's just a, it's just a storage saving method. This is a really weird looking platform, but it was like a nice one because it means I can put 2 chemistry labs on it, which means this is where we're going to be delivering the final blow ultimately, right? This one's going to make the steel. And then there's going to be another chemistry lab right here that makes the nanocarbon alloy. And again, it needs titanium alloy and steel. So it's going to take the steel straight from this one because they're sharing a platform. And we'll just auto-arm the steel over. So, the titanium over. I hope you can follow me when I don't ever say anything right. But yes, again, we're automatically going to craft ourselves some steel with this. And we're automatically going to craft ourselves some nanocarbon alloy with this. And then, boom, we move that over. And boom, right here, just like that, just an auto-arm between, and nothing fancy at all. In fact, this is probably the least fancy thing you've ever laid your eyes on. Yeah. It's not even good looking. So this moves the titanium alloy over to the nanocarbon alloy one. And then we have nanocarbon alloy, kind of, right? Because this is where the caveat sort of is. And this part, a lot of people are very much so not fans of it. Quite unfortunate thing to a lot of people. Because obviously we don't have all of the gases on the home planet, right? That is something that you can't really get around to my knowledge. And so what you have to do is just store them back here, right? We need helium and argon for these. So we're going to store them. And again, this is something that a lot of people do not like about this build, but for me, it's not a big deal at all, because when you use these, right, it's so much. It's 160 of each, right? So we could have 160 argon here and 160 helium here stored, which will get us 160 nanocarbon alloy before both of those run out, because you need one of each for each nanocarbon alloy. That's 160 nanocarbon alloy for just one of these full, which basically means all you got to do is just take one of these to another planet and put it on a platform with an atmospheric condenser, and it'll fill up on its own while you're away, as long as you power it with something that's going to work while you're away. So it's like, you gather the gases you need for this AFK, and you just got to shuttle them over here every once in a while, and then they'll supply. So anyways, this is where it gets freaky, because I always do a weird thing with this, right? I put the argon on the left side here, even though it goes to the right chemistry lab, because I feel like the way, I don't remember why I do that, but that's what I do. Yeah, just like that, and that's it. The helium goes across to the nanocarbon alloy one. The argon one goes over to the steel one. Now then, the steel does not just need iron, obviously. It needs argon. We already just explained that. We got to store it through the back there. Then carbon, right? And so I forgot to actually include tappers on the resource list for this, but I have tappers for the power system we're going to use for this base, as luck would have it. So I'm just going to throw down the volatile Attactus, which, by the way, is the best plant for gathering organic, but you don't even really need a good one, actually, for this. You can use kind of a crappy one. You don't need that much carbon. And I placed it in a stupid spot, so that's cool. I'm going to have to wait for it to grow. What we're doing is, we're going to back it up a lot. So what we're doing is, we're going to take the organic with an auto arm that does so. Yeah, it takes the organic, places it on the smelter, it becomes carbon. Another auto arm takes it, places it over here, and again, it can place it into either chemistry lab, but it can't, because nanocarbon alloy won't take carbon, so it'll just go to the steel one. And then boom, that's the entire thing. Now we just need to store it somewhere. I'm going to be doing that with a large resource canister, which is going to store 400 nanocarbon alloy, right, before it gets full. Oh, but yeah, I forgot to put the auto arm here, but big surprise, that's how we get the nanocarbon alloy to here with an auto arm. And so that's technically the entire build, I suppose. Yes, and so I'm going to show it running, which means I need to set up my generator system, which I don't want to do. That's unfortunate, huh? Yeah, I'm going to do that. That's what I'm going to... I need to stop repeating myself, but it's like a disease, man. I can't even stop. Anyways, I'm almost positive I didn't forget anything else, except for that I didn't automate all the other trade platforms. I'll do that, though. Guess I need to turn all these on, even though they're not filtered yet. It makes me uncomfortable to do that, but that's what I'll do. And I do need to bring these over, but I have those. Because it is just like I said, I'm a man of my word, right? It's just not hard to get a ton of that, because all you gotta do is just leave a base like this, right? I left helium and methane. Helium, right? Helium, not a fast guy. As most of you probably know, helium does not gather quickly. But it doesn't matter that it didn't gather quickly, because I was gone, right? That's why it's not a big deal to me. All we have to do is just come grab a ton of it all at once. And then that's the end of our story. Oh, gosh. Same with the glacial one, of course, except even better, because, you know, argon gathers 4 times as fast as helium does. And if you don't like blasting off very often, right, then you can actually just make the InCaf contraption store more of this, and then make your atmospheric condenser contraption store more, right? And then you don't actually have to worry about coming back very often. You could do thousands at once if you wanted. So, I've said my piece. Yeah, now that my rant's over, though, I'm going to place these in the appropriate locations, if I can remember. Oh, I made this like a brain puzzle. Which one goes Argon? This is Argon. Am I even holding Argon? Oh, life's hard. One last thing I'll say, actually, before I try to get this up and running fully, is that, again, none of them other than, like I said, I just want to make sure that you understand what you need to filter and what you can just kind of filter, right? This one over here really does probably need to be filtered, right? I don't even know if it can grab this power switch, but maybe it can. So filter this to only pick up soil canisters before you make this thing go on its own, and filter all of these to only pick up their resource, right? If you do that, I'm pretty sure you're safe. And if you're not, you'll know by the end of this video, because I'm going to tell you how it screwed me up. Because that's all I'm going to be filtering before the stuff comes rolling in. I'm going to filter all these auto arms eventually, because again, I have OCD and all. Pretty sure I'm all good now, right? I got all these automated and... Oh, frick. I did the ultimate mistake. I just realized. Do not forget. Empty or not empty. Ooh, that's an easy one to forget. Do not forget empty or not empty, because what happens is it just doesn't work, right? It doesn't work on full or not full. But yes, what I'm going to do, right, is start by showing off the soil one. Then I might do the Astronium one, though I'm kind of lazy. And I don't think you'd be too disappointed if I didn't, right? I don't think you'd be too disappointed if I didn't, because it's pretty basic, right? It's the same. It's the same as the soil one, except for the Astronium contraption. So I'm probably just going to do the soil one, because I think I have some extra soil on Aatrox that I can bring back. That's why. And I don't want to reset the overclocked auto extractors down there, because I'm really lazy. So that's probably what I'm going to do. But then, yes, because the part that matters the most is this one. So if I show this part working, I think everyone's going to be pretty dang happy with that. But yeah, I got to set up this generator system real quick, and I will be back when I'm actually starting this thing up for the first time, yeah. Oh yeah, I know it's a little late in the video to say this, but this takes 132 units per power second to power, and that system I made over there makes like 350 units per power second, so whoops, I kind of overshot a little bit, but I have OCD and I'm autistic, so I decided to set up the whole thing instead of just half of it. But yeah, this part's pretty straightforward. Didn't think anything was going to go wrong. We have our automatic scrap being made just fine. So it's kind of weird because we're taking soil out of a soil canister to make empty soil canisters to scrap it. But the conversion rate here is pretty nice, because one soil canister full of soil makes 4 empty soil canisters, makes 1 scrap. So 1 soil canister full of soil ends up being 1 scrap in the end, which means we have a lot of scrap here, over 200. So that means that we're going to be getting a lot of nanocarbon alloy, because as I said, each nanocarbon alloy is only 6 soil canisters worth of soil, or 6 scrap if you want to do it from the Astronium, which is just 2 Astronium. So 2 Astronium or 6 soil canisters full of soil will get you 1 nanocarbon alloy, but not quite at the start, right? Because basically these different lines of scrap need to fill up with scrap and stuff first before we actually get our first nanocarbon alloy. But once we get our first nanocarbon alloy, from then on out, every 6 soil canisters full of soil or 2 Astronium will give us 1 nanocarbon alloy. But yes, I really recommend that system I built over there. One of the greatest ways to get a lot of power without it being really that expensive to set up. It's incredible. And I just realized I didn't actually show it. I made a separate video on this specifically in this series, but if you don't want to watch that, it's just 4 of these and 2 auto arms. That's all you need to power 36 generators, and you can set it up really efficiently if you do it this way. So, but yeah, this part progresses really slowly, so I'm going to do a big, good old-fashioned classic me maneuver and just sit here and screen record the process. And my mouse may be flailing around. Oh, not like that. My mouse, you know, the cursor, might be flailing around during this, like, little time lapse or whatever we have here. But, I'll be back whenever everything's done, according to what I think, because I'm just going to be listening, alt tabbing. That's why my mouse is going to be going around, because I'm going to be in a different tab doing stuff while just recording this window. Anyways, as you can see, the contraption can no longer continue because it's all backed up. For obvious reasons, we have not filtered this yet, and that is necessary. So we're going to go ahead and do that for all of these. And as you can see, this trade platform down here at the end did not do what it's supposed to, because I screwed something up is the only explanation there. So I'm going to have to figure out what I screwed up there. But yeah, I don't really have time to time-lapse the end point here. Just know that it does work, and even though it's not particularly fast, it doesn't matter. It's automatic. That's the whole thing with that, is that you don't have to do it yourself, so it doesn't matter if it's quick. And so it's really the best way to get it anyway, so it doesn't matter if it's not particularly fast, because it's still faster than going out and getting hundreds of it on your own. So, you know, take my beautiful knowledge and bread, my young son, and have a nice day.